Most perpetual DEXes are built the same way. You've got a pool of capital, you've got liquidity providers who deposit into that pool, and that pool acts as the counterparty to every trade on the platform. Traders open a long, the pool is on the other side. Traders profit, the pool pays out. Traders lose, the pool gains. It's a model that works. It's how most of the largest on-chain perp venues operate today. But it comes with specific structural trade-offs that don't always get talked about clearly. Today, I want to walk through exactly how that model works, where the friction points are, and then explain what LeverUp's architecture does differently, and why that matters structurally. Let's start with the LP pool model, because it's worth understanding it properly before comparing it to anything else. When you trade on a typical perp DEX, liquidity providers have deposited capital into a shared pool. That pool is what backs every position on the platform. When you open a long and make money, that payout is coming from LP capital. When you lose, the pool absorbs those losses as gains. LPs earn a share of the fee revenue in exchange for taking on that directional risk across the entire book. The model has real strengths. There's always settlement capital available. Traders don't need a matching counterparty. The pool fills every trade immediately. And because risk is spread across a large pool, individual position volatility gets smoothed out. That's why this design became the dominant model for on-chain perps. But the structural trade-offs are real too, and they show up in three specific places. First, open interest is bounded by how much capital is in the pool. If a protocol has $50 million of LP capital, it can't sustainably support 200 million in open positions. The math doesn't work. So protocols manage this with open interest caps, utilization-based skew fees, and LP incentive programs to attract more capital. At high utilization, large traders face size limits and pay elevated costs. Second, fee revenue gets split with the LP layer. That's not a bad thing by itself. It's the cost of the liquidity the pool provides. But it means a portion of every fee a trader pays is flowing to an external group of capital providers, not into the protocol's own distribution mechanisms. Third, LP appetite varies with market conditions. After a large drawdown or in a high volatility regime, LPs can exit. When they do, the protocol's capacity shrinks with them. You get a feedback loop where exactly when you might want the most trading capacity, the pool is contracting. Now let's talk about what LeverUp does differently. LeverUp uses something called the Virtual Market Making Vault, the VMMV. Instead of a passive LP pool acting as the counterparty, the VMMV handles execution and settlement at the protocol layer. Positions are settled through what LeverUp calls a protocol-managed virtual liquidity architecture. There's no external capital provider sitting between the trader and the protocol. Open interest capacity scales with protocol risk parameters, rather than with the size of an externally supplied LP pool. Let me explain what that means concretely for how positions work. Your position size is determined by your collateral and leverage. The formula is straightforward. Position size equals initial collateral times leverage divided by entry price. Liquidation triggers when your collateral falls below 15% maintenance margin, calculated against the mark price from the Pyth Pro Oracle feed. For a long position, that liquidation price is your entry price minus the result of collateral times 85% minus fees, divided by position size. The math is transparent and deterministic. You can calculate your liquidation price before you confirm the trade. Collateral pools are also isolated by type. LVUSD positions and LVMON positions don't affect each other. Each asset maintains its own open interest limits and leverage parameters, so exposure in one pool doesn't create spillover risk in another. Now here's where the fee routing gets interesting. On a standard LP-based protocol, the fee path looks like this. Trader pays a fee, the pool earns a portion, LPs earn yield on that, the protocol treasury earns a portion. That's multiple layers of distribution, with a significant slice going to external capital providers as compensation for the counterparty role they're playing. On LeverUp, there's no LP layer in that path. Every epoch, 100% of protocol fees, open, close, holding, gets redistributed back into the protocol's own ecosystem in two ways. XLV stakers receive USDC directly, and separately, the protocol uses fees to buy back LV on the open market, converts it into XLV, and distributes that to YLV holders, which increases the YLV to XLV conversion rate over time. The structure is simpler. The revenue stays inside the protocol rather than leaking out to an external capital layer. The fee schedule itself also has a specific design choice worth noting. At standard leverage, you pay a small open and close fee. The exact numbers are in the docs and subject to change as the protocol evolves. But the more interesting part is what happens at high leverage. On a losing high leverage close, both open and close fees go to zero. On a profitable high leverage close, you pay a fee. That's not an accident. Most fee models charge regardless of outcome. LeverUp's structure is designed to reduce the fee burden on traders who got the trade wrong at high leverage, and collect revenue from the profitable closes instead. There's also an additional 5% fee discount when you settle in LVUSD or LVMON. No separate execution fee on top of the stated model. So what does removing the LP pool actually change in practice? 3 things specifically. 1. How fees are routed. No LP layer means no portion of trader fees is allocated to an external counterparty group. 2. How open interest capacity is determined. It's driven by demand and protocol risk parameters, not by how much external capital LPs have decided to deposit. 3. Where execution and settlement responsibility sits, at the protocol layer, through transparent on-chain mechanics, rather than through a pool that external parties can enter and exit at will. Each of these comes with its own trade-offs. LP pools are battle-tested. They have clear incentive structures. They've demonstrated the ability to attract billions of dollars of capital at scale. That's not nothing. Protocol-level settlement puts execution and settlement responsibility entirely on the protocol's own architecture. The VMMV, the Oracle feeds, the collateral isolation, the liquidation system. All of those components are load-bearing. If any of them have weaknesses, there's no external LP cushion absorbing the impact. The underlying thesis of LeverUp's design is that protocol-level settlement is the right architecture for a trading venue that wants to align its revenue model directly with trader activity. Instead of routing value through an intermediate layer of external capital providers, the protocol captures and redistributes that value within its own ecosystem. Whether that trade-off holds up at scale is something that gets tested in practice, not just on paper. That's the LP-free mechanism, what it actually is, what it changes structurally, and what the honest trade-offs are. If you want to go deeper, the full breakdown of LeverUp's architecture is in the What is LeverUp article linked in the show notes. And if you want to see how this translates to actual trading mechanics, liquidation thresholds, collateral types, any collateral, those are covered in the other episodes in this series. Links below. I'm Marcus, and I'll see you in the next one.